I just got done listening to over 200 phone calls for a client of mine. I kid you not, I went and classified them myself in order to see how good their lead flow was, and what I learned is amazing. So hang on tight. We're going to talk about phones.
It's a Mammoth Plumber podcast with Tom Williams, the marketing man. Sweet.
Okay, you all know how important phone calls are, right? I sure hope you do. I hope that this is one of the things that you are constantly looking at dashboards and spreadsheets for, because I do for clients, because we want to make sure that what we're doing is having an effect on the phone calls. Are we going to control all of them with marketing? No, but we can really help tune the marketing if we know what's going on with the phone calls. So let's talk about what I found in this particular case. So we had an issue where a client calls us and he's like, hey, listen, we don't know what's going on. Like, it just seems like things aren't working the way that they should. Can you please dive in? This is normal for marketing companies to get these calls every now and then. We try and do our best on every single thing. And, sometimes we get these calls. So I was like, all right, yeah, let's pull all the data. So we pulled the data out of their CRM because it doesn't connect to Searchlight. And so we have to reconcile it ourselves, which is kind of an extra pain, but it's doable. And then we go back and start looking at the phone calls. Is there anything we missed? Is there anything that's changed or whatever? And we found that there was an automation inside of the CRM that doubled up on the phone calls, which kind of broke our phone call tracking. Well, I took this as an opportunity to just pull all the phone calls and listen to them one by one on 2x speed along with the spreadsheet, so I could really dive in and understand what was happening with the leads. And then for each one, I would classify them. Okay. And I had qualified, not qualified, vendor, call error in case there was a program error that we saw a lot of that we needed to go and take a look at. Anything that we could think of had a specific field where we could just choose it and know what happened. And then we could put in some notes if we needed to. Didn't really take me that long to go through I went through 250, not just 200. And so here's the biggest thing. As we started putting in the data, we're like, well, you know what, let's build a table to actually count these as we go. And let's see what's going on here. So we can see all the leads that this client got. We can see the leads that we got from our marketing campaigns. We can see, things that are organic. We can see things that are paid, and we can go through and start figuring out, all right, are there problems? Yeah, there were problems. The biggest problem had nothing to do with the marketing, which is sad, but true. And honestly, we had told them that, hey, this is kind of a problem, or we think this is a problem. And based on what we're finding with the data, going right back to the root of the source, this is the biggest problem. They have an incredibly bad answer rate. They are answering their phone calls to the tune of 40%. And we had been hammering against this, but just, it's interesting going through the data and being like, look at that. They're missing phone calls. Now, here's the other thing. A lot of times you'll talk to a client and be like, we don't really miss that many phone calls. Our answer rate's really good, except they aren't counting the off hours. If you aren't looking at how many phone calls you miss when you aren't supposed to answer the phone because you are off work, right? Well, then you are missing the boat, because a lot of people will call in that 7 to 8 a.m. hour, and a lot of people will call in that 5 to 7 hour, because that's when they get home. That's when they're dealing with their home. That's when these problems come up. And if you're not willing to answer the phone during those times, you don't get the job. Because another thing that we hear all the time is, well, I call them back as soon as they leave a message. I can promise you, a lot of people, the minute that, especially looking at the data from this, the minute that somebody hits your voicemail, they hang up and they go look for someone else who's going to take care of them better than you just did. That is the dynamics of your phone system. So it is extremely important that you figure out a way to answer the phone well, right? And I know this might seem simple, but you'd be surprised how many companies actually struggle with it or have excuses for not having a solution for it. There are a couple solutions. If you are having a hard time answering your phone, this is really true of smaller companies. You have companies like Plumline and a couple others that will go ahead and answer your phone for you. Are they going to be perfect? Are they going to be just like you? No. But are they going to miss calls? Not nearly as many as you are now. which means that you have leads and customers that are starting to feel like, oh, okay, they're going to get back to me in the morning with the schedule. Or a lot of these companies, these answering services, will actually book the call and put them on your calendar. The easier you make it on your user, the better chance you have to thrive and survive and grow and become the company that you're trying to become. And you have to start utilizing tools, which is often companies, whether it's marketing companies or phone answering systems, in order to help you do this. It's normal. So set away this notion of, no, I got to talk to every phone call. You don't, and that's absolutely not the way you build a company beyond a certain revenue amount. If you are willing to just stay low in the smaller range, because that's the kind of business you want, fine. But if you really want to explode out from that and build a company with multiple locations, maybe you serve multiple states, definitely multiple like major metros, well, then you're going to have to make some changes to get there. That's what these other companies do. And if you want to play their game, you got to fight for those leads just the way they are. So you can tell I've been through a lot with this spreadsheet. I'm fired up about it. So the other thing is you really do need to train your staff. And that is honestly, this particular client, this is their biggest problem. Is from what I see, they do awesome on the phone, but they aren't watching the phone. And they don't have any form of like bleed over. So if she's on a call, like the phone goes to somebody else. Basically, it just hits voicemail. And I saw multiple brand new customer leads that I can't tell if it's a qualified lead or not because the phone never picks up and we never get a recording because they hang up as soon as they hit the answering machine during business hours, which happens far too much. So what I recommend you do is answering service as a rollover, right? So if your CSRs, if that team is busy and they're on the phone or they can't answer the phone for whatever reason, you have another person who's going to be poised to answer it for you. Is it as good as your internal team? Sometimes they actually can be. Oftentimes you'll find that they operate at about 80% of what your regular team does, which is honestly, that's still way better than not answering the phone. So the other thing that I've had people do is say, well, we're going to just roll it over to the owner. Don't do that. The owner is one of the worst people to ever get on the phone because they are A, busy and often miss the call themselves, or B, they can't, and I do this myself, like they will overpromise service to the point of disappointing the customer. So you have to be careful with that. And realistically, the owner is supposed to drive the ship, not like nail the planks together. So I highly recommend that you find somebody else to do it. Sometimes it's as simple as building out your CSR team. And, you know, you could probably find somebody local if you want to work overnight in order to answer your phones, right? Some people are looking for those opportunities of those night gigs where all they got to do is pick up a phone, hit the schedule. Cool, right? So there are so many solutions. I think there's no excuse for having a poor answer rate. All right. So then you got another element. You've got your answer rate, right? Cool. You fixed that. You're answering 95% of your phone calls. Well, then you get to your estimates. You get to how well are the people on the phone converting those calls, those qualified leads into estimates or actual jobs down the road, right? Often, many of you are going to say, hey, cool, we got to come out, do a diagnostic, get the estimate, and then we'll end up rolling out and doing the job. We'll waive the estimate fee, so that way that's just bundled in with the job, so you're not like double paying for the time or whatever. And then we're going to go ahead and do our thing. And you're going to turn those into booked jobs. There's a loss that happens at each of those. And if you aren't measuring it, you absolutely should. And if you don't know what benchmarks to get out of those, you should go to wealthyplumber.com and look at my brother's coaching program because our benchmarks are pulled from his program. But for the most part, at least start measuring so then you know if you can improve or not. So what you should be doing is measuring, all right, cool, my answer rate, now my booking rate to estimates, right? And then my closed jobs rate. So that way you can see in between the percentages that exist and whether or not you have extra loss that you don't have to bear so your company makes more money. I ended up putting the missed leads in this and working on their put everything into a bunch of different spreadsheets and then started just fiddling around with the numbers because it's fun to do. And there were two things that made the absolute biggest determinant for ROI if we're going to project out into the future. And the biggest was increasing their answer rate and increasing their estimate rate. Those two things, because they were actually booking most of their estimates really well. But if you increased those two numbers, you tripled the revenue that was coming into the company. And that's amazing. And so if you're finding that, man, we're just not making enough money and we don't quite know why, start measuring. It's amazing what you can learn about your company or somebody else's, right? And I do the same. Like, we have leads that come in, and then we have consults, and then people sign up for services, and we're working on better reporting for that all the time, trying to get a better and better handle, right? It used to be that we just did it willy-nilly, and now we actually have dashboards and things to like look at and graphs and fancy widgets and things. It doesn't have to be that complex. Just at least kick these stats into a spreadsheet and start doing a little bit of digging. So, anywho, these are really, really important. I have heard a ton of excuses on comments on my social posts about, we can't answer the phone 100% of the time. We can't do this. I think those are excuses. I think that you can and you should. I'm going to hold you to a higher standard if you want to be a better version of what kind of company you are now. And if you truly want to be the best in the market, you have to start acting like it and taking responsibility over things like your answer rate, your booking rate, and your closing rate. And those are skills, right? You've got to put in systems, but then you've got to teach people the skills in order to get those things to shine. If you don't have those things in order, it's very, very hard for a marketing team to be able to help because you have a business problem, not a marketing problem. We have thresholds that we measure our marketing on, right? But often, if those are going okay, we go, well, what's happening in the business? Because that's the next levers to pull. And realistically, those levers should be pulled before you start investing too heavy into marketing as well. So anyway, this is also why when you look at a marketing company, whether it's us or somebody else, like ensure that it's a collaborative relationship and ensure that you and them are working together in good times and in bad to try and figure out the system, give good advice, and move everyone forward, right? That's what you all want. That's what we all need. So go out there and learn how to be a better plumber. I hope that I know I was a little bit like spicy on this one, but I hope that you guys caught my passion for answering the phones, especially after digging through spreadsheets. I got a lot of pent up energy to talk about it. But if you want help with any of this or you are curious about marketing, go ahead, go to tylerwilliams.net and you'll find some info as well as you can schedule a consult with my crew and we'd be happy to sit down with you for an hour and kind of like go through your marketing and give you ideas of what you could do next. That's our free consult that we offer any plumber. If you're an electrician, stay away. I only want to talk to plumbers because I like being in tune with that. All right. Thanks for listening. And you have a wonderful week because I don't know when you listen to this, but this is when I record it. Thanks. Bye.
Let me tell you the tale of Tyler Williams, the marketing man.
Moon beneath the northern glow, through icy winds and endless snow. One dark night, disaster came, a plumbing failure, a world in shame. Searching online, no ads in sight, no plumber answered in the endless night. The pipes burst wide, the earth gave way. His home was gone, his mother lost. With fists clenched tight to the frozen sky, Tyler made a vow, a marketing cry.
Arise, their name shall stand. I will forge their fate with my own hand.
Tyler Williams, the marketing man, with cosmic power, he built the plan. Fire in his eyes, campaigns in his hand. He builds lost plumbers across the land. From frozen wastes to city skies, plumbers thrive where legends rise. He roamed alone through ice and stone. The Alaskan wilds became his home. He fought off bears with furious might and carved a shelter through the night. The cold winds whispered, his breath ran thin. He stumbled weak, his strength grew dim. Then through the storm, a shadow tall, a mighty mammoth, a titan's call.
I am Mark, the marketing mammoth. Tyler, your time has come. I will teach you the cosmic secrets of persuasion and advertising. Ancient marketing magic lost to time. Through my wisdom you shall rise, and the world will always find a plumber in their time of need.
Tyler Williams, the marketing man, born of the wild with a mammoth plan. He bends the stars, he shakes the sky. For plumbers lost, he lifts them high. With words like thunder, ads like fire, he turns their dreams into empires. No more shadows, no more doubt. With mammoth power, he pulls builds out. For 35 years through frost and fate, he studied with Mark, making marketing great. He grew 10 feet, his beard turned wild. With mammoth wisdom, no longer a child. His eyes burned green with northern light. His voice could shake the stars at night. Then Mark the mammoth raised his head, and to his pupil this is what he said.
Tyler, you have mastered the ancient ways, the lost art of persuasion, the magic of marketing. Your time is now, the world is waiting. Plumbers live in darkness, but you shall be their